Namaskar friends, myself Deepak Kumar Rath. I welcome you all to the digital media of Uday. On my regular episode, Bhartiyata ka Sankanad, today we will talk about an issue that has most severe implication on a society like ours and how India has been fighting with terrorism, particularly Islamic terrorism, for quite a long time. We were made to believe that social exclusion, injustice, lack of economic and educational means leads to terrorism only. And this is of course a quite debatable subject that I am going to put before you. And in Uday India, this sort of issues we put before you, analyze it in a different way. But now I will tell what is the story behind the attack. A recent arrest that has again made this subject and that forced me to come out in the open and speak before you on this particular subject. And if you may all know, the National Investigating Agency, the NIA detained Dr. Adnan Ali Sarkar, a well-known anesthesiologist. He is from Pune, and on 27 July, after raids and the discovery of allegedly incriminating materials tied to ISIS, Mr. Sarkar, a well-known member in Pune's medical community, medical fraternity, and graduated with honors from BJ Medical College with MBBS and MD degrees, and he had every opportunity a citizen would have. I failed to understand, friends, what went wrong with him then. And it is frequently believed that the social isolation, economic marginalization, and political grievances are conducive to radicalization, and these elements provide an ideal environment for the spread of extreme ideology. However, friends, Sarkar did not have these problems. It is evident from Sarkar's example that the idea that injustice is always what leads to someone become extremist is really untrue. Even if they have a blessed existence, some people are drawn to extremism. Not to mention the fact that many people encounter grave injustices and difficult situations yet chose not to follow such a route. Deprivation and poverty are not the root cause of terrorism, friends. And if you will know from the facts, according to the World Bank's analysis, and out of 331 recruits, profiles from an Islamic State database, 69% of them, they have at least a high school diploma and 25% have a college degree. And before joining the Islamic group, the vast majority of these terrorists held a job or other occupation. Friends, according to World Bank study, the proportions of administrators but also of suicide fighters increase with education. And additionally, the average level of education among those expressing interest in suicide bombing was, of course, higher. Despite the evidence, the progressive narrative persists in claiming that social unrest, economic misery, injustice, and poverty are the cause of Islamic terrorism. Friends, nothing is more false than it is. And the notion that poverty begets terrorism is rife today, and it is like to popular because it appeals to Western collective guilt in an effort to rationalize what the West appears to find difficult to accept. And what is that? That terrorists are motivated not by disparity but by hatred of all civilization other than theirs. Terrorism is motivated by Islamist doctrine rather than desperation, corruption, or extreme poverty. And fanatics with advanced knowledge who have waged war on their own civilization have been a defining feature of political terror throughout history. If you see, starting in since last 5 decades, you can see there are facts, there are figures, and everywhere you can see some model, and one can easily find out why I am talking about this, why I am talking about Islamic terror, and why they are always adhered to negative mentality of the society. And I must tell you here that an ideology that seeks to use terror, to acquire power, they want to acquire power by using terror rather than addressing poverty. That is the cause of the bombs in Paris. And the same Islamist ideology that killed the Charlie Hebdo journalists and the police officers assigned to protect them drove British author Salman Rushdie, into a decade of exile and attacked Mumbai, butchers commuters in London, Brussels and Madrid, murdered hundreds of Israeli Jews on buses and in restaurants. And that was ultimately, that killed 3,000 people on 11 September in United States, committed mass rapes in Europe and carried out massacres in the Middle East. It's the same. The data shows how ugly they are, what a thought they are carrying, what is really their culture. Is this? Can any religion adhere to such things, to grow, to have a name and fame? Never. At least Bharat doesn't have that. And I must tell you, friends, that the same ideology that murdered thousands in our country also. Thousands. And here I want to remind you that the same ideology that killed Kanhalal perpetrated recent new violence in Haryana. And you behave sometimes as if you are so innocent. Hundreds of young, violent people, they are involved, and in the false or pseudo-names, they are opening Hindus through YouTube, through Facebooks, and literally what happened in Haryana, nobody can tolerate it. And last time also I said, somewhere some fundamental problem is there in One has to erase that, one has to eradicate that mindset, that violence mindset, that this, who is giving training to these young people? Forget about their caste or religion, just treat them as an Indian citizen, and then one can really see what they are doing, where they are getting the training. And I hope most of the people, the intelligence, everybody knows what has happened. But I am surprised why action has not been taken. I don't know. But the government has assured, the Chief Minister of Haryana has clearly given indication that law will take its own course, and one hopes so. And again, coming back to my point that I was discussing regarding Mr. Sarkar, these terrorists, They received everything from India. They will get education, food, everything, including employment. And they know our culture. They will get good salary. They will get all sort of facilities, religious freedom, and our secular leaders will always fight for them. And selectively our media and the Khanmark gang will be treating them selectively. If you see in New Violence, what the BBC has reported, totally false report, totally baseless report. And I must say, these senior television journalists who are discussing in the prime time in English channels, you know what they are tweeting? They will selectively choose a Muslim, how their shop is damaged or burnt, but they will never show any Hindus. They will never show how Hindu brothers are attacked. They will never show how Hindu mothers and sisters are really facing violent situations. Never. That is their real, culture. And I call them as terrorists. And these terrorists, like Dr. Adnan Ali Sarkar, who is from Pune, have never known poverty in their entire lives. The assassins of Kanhalal disregarded the secularist principles of our nation. The Mumbai attackers and several others adhere to the same philosophy, same ideology. If you will connect all the attacks before 2014, if you will connect all the dots, then you can see that the same mentality, the same model. And India will not succeed in this war being fought against us if it fails to recognize the true cause of animosity and instead indulgence in fabrications like poverty. Since last more than 5 decades, many colonial forces, many other people from outside India, they tried their level best. They attacked all our temples. They tried to destroy our culture. They tried to give a bad name to Sanatana Dharma. But I want to ask you, have you really succeeded in the last century or last 75 years? No, because we have a strong base. Now, I request all my respected viewers, friends, I have argued and now I want to leave it to you, your own discretion to think and evaluate what I have said. And keep this in mind. This is your beloved India. This is our country. We don't take it as a country, but we accept, we respect it, we worship it as our mother. And which is being slowly budgeted by you people. And you can never say that in this issue I have not created any negative narrative against anybody. Whatever I have told before you, that is all based on fact. But you people are always involving yourself with negative narrative against India, against Indian culture, against our vast traditional knowledge base. Your only motive is to give a bad name or defame India. That's why, friends, your feedback will always give us more energy to expose such terrorists, to expose such journalists, to expose who are really behaving like secular, but they are really more communal. That's all for today. भारत माता की जय।